I read my girlfriend's texts. I am done. The coffee was almost ready when her phone buzzed. Sarah was in the shower, the sound of the water a dull roar behind the closed door. Usually, I would not even glance at her phone, but the screen lit up with a message from a number I did not recognize. Curiosity, a rare guest in my mind, won. Last night was incredible. I cannot wait to see you again. My blood went cold. My hands started to shake. I stared at the message, willing it to be a wrong number, a misplaced text, anything but what it seemed. Sarah was amazing, and I would be asking her to be my wife. The ring was purchased and hidden. I took a deep breath, trying to regain some semblance of composure before she came out of the shower. I managed to pour the coffee, but the image of that text message burned behind my eyelids. I told myself it was nothing, a harmless flirtation, maybe even a friend referencing a fun night out. Sarah emerged, her hair wrapped in a towel, her skin glowing. She smiled, a genuine, warm smile that always made my heart skip a beat. But this time it just felt wrong. "Morning, sleepyhead," she said, reaching for her coffee. I forced a smile, trying to act normal. "Morning," I replied, my voice sounding strained even to my own ears. "Who is that from?" I asked, gesturing vaguely towards her phone on the counter. She glanced at it, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes before she composed herself. "Oh, just Jessica. We were talking about a work event last night." Jessica? I knew Jessica. That did not sound like something Jessica would say. The doubt, once a tiny seed, began to sprout. I pushed it down, determined not to let it consume me. 5 years. 5 amazing years. I trusted Sarah. I had to. But over the next few weeks, the seed grew, fed by a steady drip of suspicion. Sarah started working late more often, citing urgent deadlines and demanding clients. Her phone was always face down, locked. She seemed distant, preoccupied, less affectionate. I found myself obsessing over every detail, replaying conversations in my head, searching for hidden meanings. I started losing sleep, my appetite waned, and a constant knot of anxiety tightened in my stomach. One night, I confided in Emily, my close friend and confidant. Emily was a therapist, the perfect person to talk to when your world was falling apart. "Mark, you know I am always here for you," she said, her voice gentle and reassuring. "But you have to talk to Sarah. Tell her how you are feeling. Do not let this fester." "I am scared, Em," I admitted. "I am scared of what I might find out." "Sometimes, the truth hurts, but it is better than living a lie," she said, her eyes filled with compassion. Her words resonated with me. I knew she was right. But confronting Sarah felt like stepping off a cliff. The opportunity presented itself a few days later. Sarah had left her phone on the kitchen counter while she went to take a call in the other room. It was unlocked. I knew I should not. I knew it was a violation of her privacy. But the urge to know, to finally put an end to the agonizing uncertainty, was overwhelming. My hands trembled as I picked up her phone and navigated to her text messages. The unknown number was still there. I scrolled through the conversation, my heart pounding in my chest. Each message was a dagger twisting in my gut. Romantic exchanges, suggestive innuendo, explicit details of their encounters. It was all there, laid bare for me to see. I felt sick, betrayed, utterly numb. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, was a stranger. The messages revealed that it had been going on for months. Not just a fleeting moment of weakness, but a sustained, calculated deception. And the other person, it was David, a senior executive at her company. Charming, successful, and apparently irresistible to my girlfriend. I wanted to scream, to smash something, to make the pain stop. But I just stood there, frozen, staring at the screen, the evidence of Sarah's betrayal searing into my soul. I researched David. His picture was plastered all over the company website. He had that smarmy executive smile and a predatory gleam in his eyes. I hated him instantly. I almost confronted Sarah that night, but I could not bring myself to do it. I was too raw, too vulnerable. I knew I would say something I regretted. I spent the next few days in a daze, going through the motions of my life but feeling completely disconnected. I could not eat, I could not sleep, I could not think of anything but Sarah and David. One evening, Sarah came home late from work, claiming she had been stuck in a meeting. I could not take it anymore. "Who were you really with tonight, Sarah?" I asked, my voice dangerously low. She looked startled, her eyes widening slightly. "What are you talking about?" "Do not play dumb with me," I said. my anger bubbling to the surface. I know about David. Her face paled. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. I saw the messages. Sarah, I continued, my voice shaking with rage and hurt. I read everything. Tears welled up in her eyes. Mark, please let me explain. Explain what? I demanded. Explain how you could lie to me for months? Explain how you could betray me like this? She started sobbing, collapsing onto the couch. It just happened, she choked out. It was not supposed to. It just happened? I repeated, incredulous. Is that all you have to say? After 5 years, that is your excuse? She looked up at me, her eyes pleading. I am so sorry, Mark. I never meant to hurt you. But you did, Sarah, I said, my voice flat. You broke my heart. She tried to deny it at first, to minimize it, to claim it was just a mistake. But I had the proof, the undeniable evidence of her infidelity. Eventually, the truth came tumbling out, like a torrent of confessions and justifications. She claimed she felt neglected, that I was too focused on my work, that David made her feel valued and appreciated. She said it was a moment of weakness, a lapse in judgment, that she regretted it deeply. But I did not believe her. I could not. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. That night, I packed a bag and left. I could not stay there, not another minute. The apartment, once a sanctuary of love and happiness, had become a prison of pain and betrayal. I crashed at Emily's for a few days, unable to face the thought of going back to my own place. She listened patiently as I poured out my heart, offering words of comfort and support. You are going to get through this, Mark, she said, squeezing my hand. It is going to hurt, but you are stronger than you think. I also spoke to Brian, my coworker and friend. He was shocked and angry on my behalf. He offered to buy me a beer and listen to me vent. Dude, you dodged a bullet, he said, slapping me on the back. She was not worth it. You deserve someone who will appreciate you. I knew they were right, but it did not make the pain any easier. The ache in my chest was constant, a dull throbbing that would not go away. A week later, I decided I needed to talk to David. I tracked him down at a bar near his office. He was exactly as I pictured him, arrogant and self-assured. He seemed surprised to see me, but he did not apologize. Look, I am sorry you had to find out this way, he said, his voice devoid of any real remorse. But Sarah and I have something special. I wanted to punch him, to wipe that smug look off his face. But I held back. I knew that violence would not solve anything. You are a pathetic excuse for a human being, I said, my voice shaking with anger. You preyed on someone else's girlfriend, and you not even have the decency to feel bad about it. He shrugged. Things happen. Sarah was unhappy. I just gave her what she wanted. I turned and walked away, disgusted. I did not want to waste another second of my life on him. Sarah continued to call and text, begging me to forgive her. She said she had ended things with David and that she realized she had made a terrible mistake. Part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me longed to go back to the way things were. But I knew I could not. The trust was gone, irrevocably broken. I met with her one last time at our favorite restaurant. The waitress who always served us knew something was wrong. Her smiles did not reach her eyes as usual. Sarah, I cannot do this, I said, my voice trembling. I cannot forgive you. I cannot forget what you did. Tears streamed down her face. Please, Mark, do not do this. I love you. I loved you too, Sarah, I said, my voice breaking. But that is not enough anymore. I stood up and walked away, leaving her sitting there alone. It was the hardest thing I had ever done. The next few months were a blur of pain and loneliness. I moved into a new apartment, threw myself into my work, and tried to rebuild my life. Emily and Brian remained my constant support system. They helped me to see that I deserved better, that I was worthy of love and respect. I started seeing a therapist. Talking about what happened helped me to process my emotions and to understand why I had stayed in the relationship for so long, even when I knew something was wrong. It was not easy. There were days when I felt like I would never be happy again. But slowly, gradually, the pain began to subside. The scars remained, but they were no longer raw and bleeding. One day, I woke up and realized that I had not thought about Sarah in hours. It was a small victory, but it felt significant. I was still hurting, but I was also stronger. I had survived the betrayal, and I had learned a valuable lesson about trust, forgiveness, and self-respect. I was still single, still searching for love, but I knew that the next time I would be more careful, more discerning. I would never again allow myself to be blinded by love or to ignore the red flags. I knew that the future was uncertain, but I was ready to face it. I was ready to move on, to find happiness again. I was done with Sarah. I was finally free. I would start my first therapy session next week.